Den store bybrand i 1794. Derfor har den her del af slottet en helt anden byggestil end den nyere del, som I ser om et par minutter. The royal stables here on your right hand side and the marble bridge that we'll be passing under now. Please stay seated. The stables and the marble bridge are the only parts of the castle that you'll see built a couple of centuries after this part. That's why the two parts of the castle have very different architectural styles. Den er lavet ligesom de andre broer, men den er også meget smal. Så når vi sejler under stormbroen, er det både vigtigt, at I sidder ned, men også at I har alle kropsdele inde i båden. As we pass under the storm bridge here, under this bridge, it's both important that you sit down, but it's equally important that you keep all body parts inside the boat. Do not stick your arms or elbows out to the side. Manage to squeeze under the storm bridge here. Yeah. There's also a very sharp corner right after the storm bridge that the boat can only just manage to get around. So this is where we get a chance to admire the skills of Captain Carsten.
Wow. Oh yeah, you learn to lie. I learn to lie.
Man byggede museet her, så man kunne udstille det, og begravede ham ind midt i det. Så det er også et mausoleum. The yellow building here is a museum designated to a Danish Icelandic sculptor called Bertel Thorvaldsen. He traveled all over Europe making statues, and he also collected a lot of works from other artists. When he died, he donated all of that art to the city of Copenhagen. They built this museum to exhibit it all and buried him in the middle of it, so it's also a mausoleum. På den anden side har vi Gamle Strand, og det er altså her, fiskerkonerne har stået i århundreder og solgt fisk til Københavns befolkning. Den sidste af dem gik på pension i 2008. Small and humble. And then we have hundreds of statues of men. They are not so small and humble. Wonder why? You see an excellent example of that right behind the fisherman's wife, the big strong one. Man on horse, Bishop Absalon, who for centuries was ascribed the honor of being the founder of Copenhagen. He built the first castle here in 1167. We know that much for sure. Consult any Danish history book, it will tell you he was the founder of the city. But then a couple of years ago they decided to build a metro station here at the old beach. When they were digging in the underground here, they found remains of settlements that were dated back to the Viking era and the Stone Age, way before Bishop Absalon's time. We sit down under the bridge. So we now know for sure that Bishop Absalon... I dag har vi regeringen, Folketinget og Højesteret siddende her. Men før demokratiet var det altså også her, kongerne regerede landet fra. On your right hand side here you see Christiansborg Castle as it looks today. This part of the castle was built in the years between 1908 and 1928. But it's the fifth castle in this position. All the previous ones burned down in big city fires. Today Christiansborg Castle is home to the Danish Parliament and the Supreme Courts of Denmark. But before democracy, this was also where the kings reigned the country from. The king on the horse, 5th of June, 1849. Foran slottet sidder Frederik den 7. på hesten. Han underskrev jo Danmarks Riges grundlov i 1849, den 5. juni.
Okay.
Please mind your heads under the bridge. Lige her efter broen. On your right hand side here you see the old stock exchange of Copenhagen, built in the years between 1620 and 1640 by King Christian IV. It's an example of those show-off buildings in Dutch Renaissance style that he makes so many of. The building here is famous for the spire with the dragon tails. Back in his days they believed that putting dragons on the roofs of buildings was a precaution against fire.
Oh.
Nowadays we would probably call that superstition.
Yeah.
But the stock exchange here is actually the only old building in the area that never burned.
Oh.
So you might want to consider a dragon on the roof next time you build a house, just to make sure.
Okay.
Please notice the heads of the dragons and see if they seem familiar to you. And be aware that we are approaching a bridge, so stay seated. The dragon heads there, if they seem familiar, it might be because Walt Disney lived here for a little while when he was young, and those dragon heads are said to have inspired his first drafts for Goofy. Han døde selv i 71, så han så den aldrig færdig, men den er betragtet som et af hans mesterværker. The National Bank here of Denmark, designed by architect Arne Jacobsen. It was completed in 1978. He died in 71, so he never saw it finished, but it is considered one of his masterpieces. If you never heard of Arne Jacobsen as an architect, you might have heard about him as a designer of furniture. He's more famous for that, actually. Herude i Nyhavn, der sejler vi også hen over et miljøprojekt. De er lige nedenunder os, det er det, som vi kalder The Biohuts, eller fiskebørnehaverne. Og det er altså sådan nogle kasser, som er fyldt med østerskaller, hvor små fisk kan svømme ind, få noget at spise og være beskyttet mod større rovfisk. Så det er noget, vi gør for at øge biodiversiteten i havnen. Københavns Havn er jo blevet renset op i løbet af de sidste 30-40 år, og er i dag en af de reneste. Fish can swim in, get something to eat, and be protected from predators. So it's something we do to enhance the biodiversity. Copenhagen Harbor used to be an industrial polluted harbor like so many others in this world, but over the past 40 years a massive work has been done to clean it up, and today it's one of the cleanest city harbors in the world. As a result of that, we now gradually see the wildlife returning to the harbor. We have about 100 species of fish, birds and mammals in the harbor at this point, and the number increases year by year as the water gets cleaner and cleaner. Ja, det hun er i dag, så er det altså nu, vi kan gøre klar til et kys. Bare I husker at spørge om lov, før I kysser
Kiss,
på
please,
men nu
so
kommer der altså ikke så farligt mange problemer i dagens Danmark.
So, pwede daw
The
mag-tingin sa
inner
ilalim
bridge
ng
here in
tulay.
front of you is more commonly known as the kissing bridge, because when it opens and closes, it looks like a kiss. But then, of course, a tradition has developed that people kiss when they sail under the kissing bridge. Some people believe it brings good luck. So if you're in that mood today, now is the time. But please promise me one thing. Please don't kiss anyone without securing consent first, or you will get in so much trouble today, also here in Little Denmark. But on your own responsibility, of course. Here you go, the kissing bridge of Copenhagen. Om lidt, når vi sejler ind i Nyhavn igen, så slutter jeg turen af med at fortælle om H.C. Andersen. Og den her del af historien har jeg virkelig svært ved at nå på. In Odense, in a different part of Denmark. And he was born very poor. His father was a shoemaker, but most of all a drunk, and he died from drinking when Hans Christian was 11 years old. As a result of that, he and his mother spent a significant part of his childhood living in an asylum for poor, homeless people. So he came from the very bottom of Danish society and was not expected to become anything in life. The first house he lived in was over here, number 67, the white one with the black roof and balcony. He was not expected to become anything, but he had a different plan. When he was 14, he moved to Copenhagen on his own to pursue a dream of becoming a ballet dancer. He applied to the ballet school. But the poor boy was almost 2 meters tall, he had huge hands and feet, and he was quite clumsy. So as you can imagine, he did not have much success with ballet dancing. Next, he tried to become an actor, but he also didn't really have a talent for that. That plan failed as well. So because of 2 failed career plans, he had to find something else to do with his time. He started scribbling little tales on paper just to pass time. It turned out he did have a talent for that. This bridge is still very low, so stay seated and mind your heads. He lived over here as well in number 18 and number 20. That's the red and the orange house on your left-hand side here. He lived here in the last years before he died. He died in 1875. By that time he was quite famous, both in Denmark and in other parts of Europe. He actually had one of the biggest funerals we have seen in the history of Copenhagen. So the boy who came from nothing actually really made it in life. Many Danish people believe that the fairy tale of the ugly duckling is the closest he ever came to writing an autobiography. If you think about it, the 2 meter tall, clumsy boy who wanted to become a ballet dancer. If that is not an ugly duckling, I don't know who is. And dying in fame and glory, I guess, can compare to dying as a beautiful swan. So you can give that a thought next time you pick up a book with his fairy tales to read them to a child. Now, unfortunately, all good fairy tales come to an end, even this one. I hope you enjoyed the tour.
Oh, ja, det var så sjovt.
Mìnhนักเที่ยวมันถึงบอกมันเที่ยวที่สุด
Yeah, so enkelt är det ju nu. Ja. So, ang dami nagka-canal tour. Maganda kasi ang panahon.
Ako flat. Ano siya pwede ako rin?
Kumaway-kaway.
Wala. Tay. Wala.
Lakad.
Kanal kafe ya. Nama tim kanal.
Okay. Okay, ang anchor, ang sign ng Nyhavn. Kasi nga harbor ito o port. Mga puntahan ng seaman. Dito ba? Ayun. So, ito yung anchor. Okay, siya yung Hotel Inglaterra. Yes. Maraming tao talaga ngayon. Yes, and this is the Holmen Chapel.
Parang ang dali-dali sila, di ba naglalakad mag-isa,
Meron akong ganun. Ang ganda, oh. With details pa siya. Hello. Ang gaganda ng building. Hindi siya nasira ng World War II.
Kasi yung Kongen,
Kasi yung king, inano niya para wag masira. Wag lang bombahin, wag masira ang Denmark. Okay.
siya yung original.
Mozart's opera.
Medyo lalit. Yung para bang may lucky pila.
Yeah, kaya ang ganda-ganda. Ang ganda-ganda talaga ng kungis niya. Oh. Against the law. Constar. Mga makasaysayang building dito sa Kongis nito. Inano ko nga sila mga kalapate.
Ano mo ko ilan ang ipretrito natin.
Talagang mga social, kalapate kayo ha. Hindi kayo nagtatakbuhan. Sige na. Tulaw kalapati. Panay ang post ni Christian. Okay na. Ayan si Christian. So I am in front of magazine the North. Sumakay ako sa metro.